So what's going on, peoples? I hope y'all doing well. This is June 29th. And so what I'm going to do today is I am going to do a response video to my son's TikTok. That video is about being whitewashed and how people believe that black folks should behave or speak a certain way. So if y'all know me, y'all know I'm gonna use that topic, but then also branch off a little bit. So specifically what he's talking about is how people have a certain expectation of black people behaving one way, and that is whatever their idea is. And to just put it bluntly, it is pretty much behaving ghetto and wild. And that's not all of us. I am on the property of my family's. My grandma owned, sorry, let that car go by. My grandma owned this house. And it actually is still within my family. It's been multiple generations that this house has been in our family. One thing that has been discussed a lot in multiple conversations is about us not having generational wealth, us not having generational lands and properties, and how black people don't know how to do that. That is one thing that is true, but it is not true for everyone. So as my son was saying in his video, black people are not a monolith. Now, he was speaking from his personal experience, and within my own personal experience, being the fact that I am a girl from the Midwest. I am from Illinois, but I was raised in Kansas. So even my family that is in Illinois and other people in Illinois say that I talk like a white girl. And that comes from my time in Kansas. And in Kansas, we spoke a little bit more proper English. Why? Because I cared a lot about having A's. I needed to pass all my grades, and in order to do that, you needed to do what? You needed to write properly. You need to have proper sentence structure, and all of y'all know what that means. So I cared about having good grades, and there's a lot of white people in Kansas, so I mixed in with all the different crowds of people. So yeah, I had some white friends, quote unquote white people, because I'm quote unquote black. These things do not exist. This was made up by the white racists. This is written in history. Okay, this was on purpose to divide us. However, as he says in his video, we are not all a monolith. So me being from the Midwest, even Kansas and Illinois, they are not the same. They are extremely similar because we are in the Midwest, because we are used to the flatness of the land, because we are used to getting all four weathers, because we are used to being intermingled with the races, but yet being separated. It's like nothing to us here. We're totally different from those in the South. And yet even East St. Louis is different from Chicago. And they're just 3 to 5 hours north, depending on how fast you drive. Okay, 3 to 5 hours north is Chicago, which is totally different from us right here. Okay, so back to what my son was saying in his video. Okay, so you expect people to act a certain way. You want them to be hood, ghetto, but there are people who are nerds. There are people who say homie all the time. Then, even the DC, New York area, whatever, they say joint and John and whatever, all this stuff. And you may or may not know what that means, and you have to figure out the context. People who wear locks, okay. Some of them do it for religious reasons. Some do it because they're into natural hair and the natural way of living. But just because you see a person with locks, what assumptions are you going to make about this person? Do you think you know everything about them? Because you certainly don't. What else? He was saying that some people say that you are the whitest black person. Okay, well, for me, that has been said, right? But also, people will call me, and this is the second subject that I want to tie into this. I've asked a question about the soft girl era. And I asked, in order to keep your peace, do you include your family in that? Because, sometimes the people who will hurt you on purpose or not will be family. So when you're in your soft girl era trying to make sure that you keep your peace and you'll stay away from people, doesn't include your family. So I have been called, a white girl. I have been recently called bougie. I have been called a stick in the mud. I have been called all of these things. And it has been because I choose to refrain from the quote unquote black things. And I choose not to smoke. I choose not to drink. I choose not to make plans just flying off the seat of my pants. I choose to communicate. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the best at it, but I try. I try my best even when it is uncomfortable. Let's be deliberate in what it is that we want to do and that what we want to say. Let's not just say things out loud if there is no purpose. If we are not okay with someone saying something back to us, then we shouldn't say it. And when someone does engage with us, do not try to cut them off. Do not get all upset. Do not now want to shut down the conversation. You said a thing. You decided not to keep it in your head. You said it out loud. And someone gets the right to say something back. And in order to keep your peace, do you also include your family in that? And so, because I choose to either not engage or I choose to engage and get better at engaging in such a manner, I choose to be purposeful with my time. I am therefore bougie. I want to ensure that I can wake up in the morning, that I can be present with my children, that I can be present with my family, that I am not driving under the influence, then that makes me bougie. Knowing, just as my son has shared in his videos, knowing that I have served in the military, that my husband has served in the military, this is what teaches you to have structure. Yes, first and foremost, it should be your parents. Your parents should give you the guidance and the structure and the discipline that you need. But whether they do or not, if you serve in the military, you will get that. Let you continue to try to party all night and then try to show up to formation. And when formation days are over, because I am not talking about basic training. I am talking about the Army continues to have formation, Marines continue to have formation, and that just means we're all going to form up in the morning in one gathering spot. That is what I am talking about. You continue to do that after basic training. The Air Force, we don't do that. But you still got to show up to work. And if you can't show up to work the next day because you made a decision to go out and party all night just because you think you can, you're not going to have that job long. And yeah, it might take the Air Force a little bit longer to kick you out. So therefore you think you got away with it. Or because you grew up in a family where you got yelled at a lot, you think that's no big deal just because you got paperwork. That does not make it okay. So does that make me whitewashed? Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to live that life. I would say not, of course, because I'm going to be biased. But I think that makes me a little bit more mature, a little bit more thoughtful. And also, I am a woman of a certain age. But shouldn't you want to listen to the wisdom of those older than you, those who have already lived this life? I've already done that. Somewhat. I never really have been that person to want to smoke, drink, cuss, do all of those things, go to the club, all that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I have done some things when I was younger that have not been the wisest of choices. I still today make decisions that are not the wisest of choices. But I don't think that I've made decisions that have kept me in the quote-unquote black or hood category. I have made decisions that's probably kept me in the young category. So this is my response to my son's video. So I'm not going to keep going, but those of you who would like to keep the conversation going, please comment, post, share the video for sure. Post the video, comment below. And also, I do want to say this. I want to go back because I read the comment that someone responded to my son's video that people are still today, people are still out here calling people Oreos. That has got to stop. Whoever is continuing that language and that way of thinking, that's got to stop. I don't know if, like, my son's breaking it down, the difference between hood and the difference between ghetto and, just being ignorant. That right there, we ain't calling people Oreos no more. Just like the F word has been put, we got to stop using that word. We got to stop calling people Oreos. We got to stop calling people half-breeds. That stuff. That stuff right there. So does that mean I'm whitewashed? Because I think we got to stop doing that. I mean, I'm using the education that I have received. I'm using the life experience that I have received. That's not cool. People are people. They're not an Oreo. They ain't no half-breed. So, whitewashed or not, experienced or not, we are not a monolith. Should you listen to those who have lived this life, those who are experienced, or should you continue to just walk in your belief, in your ignorance, and not expect people to say anything back to you? All right, I've hit 13 minutes. Let me hear it.